podcast excellence since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
The John Cena heel turn takes the driver's seat on the road to WrestleMania.
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
And wrestling needed a jolt in the arm in the form of the John Cena heel turn that happened at Elimination Chamber this past weekend. Episode 912 of the Wrestling is Real podcast. King of Podcasts here with you. Some good news. Hey, I don't know how this all happened, but Facebook brought me back. So the King of Podcasts Facebook page is back once again. And I'm posting once again, as always. So I'm glad of that. Instagram, I'm still off. Do I want to go ahead and open up another account? Probably not. Maybe. I'll think about it. I'll give it some time. We can set up another account somewhere, I guess. But either way, kingofpodcasts.com is where you find all my content. And of course, the Wrestling is Real podcast since 2012. You can find all the past episodes up until, I think, it's like about the 150-something odd episodes. I still got them somewhere. And at some point, I'm probably going to go ahead and get them pulled off of the hard drive of my old laptop and get them posted. I got to get to that hard drive soon enough and do something with it. I haven't done anything with it yet, but it is something on my list of things to do. And I will take time to go ahead and archive all those old episodes. I will do it soon. In the meantime, we got to go and talk about what's going on with us here. And also, of course, we might have to go ahead and make a point because it's been overshadowed. AEW Revolution is coming up this weekend. We'll talk about the card, preview predictions, all that good stuff. But yes, the John Cena heel turn is all over the place. And a lot of people have talked about it. But let's go into what overall people are saying about it. The Sportster decides to go and put an op-ed on it. Sean Van Horn writes about it. Says that the John Cena heel turn is the perfect final arc to his career. And this is the part I was being combative about when I did the post show this week about it. And that's okay. Look, I will make sure to say this point across loudly. The heel turn this weekend was a great angle. It's an all-timer. At the level of Bash at the Beach, yes. Hogan and the NWO, yes. It's going to be up there. It's the magnitude of who was in this storyline. John Cena, The Rock, and Cody Rhodes. Those three in the ring. Take out Travis Scott. He is an afterthought. And as for Travis Scott, he better not get into the ring again, because that guy is reckless. Like, what were you thinking? Letting him taking any kind of shots at Cody Rhodes, because he did hurt Cody Rhodes when it came down to it. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Travis Scott, for whatever it's worth, I don't know what they should do to him. There should be some kind of punishment for what he did over there. I don't know what's gone on with him. Everything goes like going back to Astroworld. This guy needs to get a distance. Travis Scott is trying to rehabilitate his career, and this crap right here among the wrestling crowd probably did not make any friends. Just saying that too. Now, into what we have here about what this storyline means. It was huge, and it was the magnitude that they needed. To get WrestleMania a jolt in the arm, to get it something that was going to really start making people go and pay attention, this needed to happen. And it did, and it was the right timing for it all together. So James Batten 95.4, he writes about this and commented on my YouTube channel. It may have saved WrestleMania's interest level, but long term, it won't do shit for WWE. The long way to see a heel turn is not something that's done in less than a year. Much like the Bloodline, it should be a top storyline for 35 years. If done correctly, this could reinvigorate the business like Hogan 96. However, with Cena only having 33 total dates left, it will be like Sting's 99 heel turn. It may pop the ratings and views for a couple weeks, but then it will be business as usual. Mark my words, this will go down as the biggest missed opportunity in wrestling's history. I disagree with James. As I was talking about on the post show, this does not have to be John Cena's only storyline about this. I mean, he doesn't have to be the only person involved in here, because the bigger storyline is the TKO takeover. from The Rock, the final boss. The final boss now is moving from Bloodline to this. And there could be an incorporation down the line where Roman Reigns will be confronted, because they're going to have to go to that pretty soon. But this right here is a conduit that will go and allow a number of stars that could be involved in storyline here. Because there is room, besides John Cena, for someone else to also be an underling in this group, in this new corporation, I call it. They can do that. So I want that to be the next thing. Now, they don't have to worry about that now. We just need to go and let Cena and Cody take on each other. If we want to have a surprise underling that comes in to disrupt things with Cody, if the bastard bloodline wants to be hired by the corporation, by The Rock, to be the henchman to go after Cody because they're already kind of going after each other. If you fuse it where The Rock is contracting his bloodline, his Samoan Brotherhood, in the form of Solo, Fatu, and the Tongans to attack, that would be good. And then the other thing you can also do is, if Jacob Fatu doesn't want to go ahead and fall in line, because right now he is standing on his own, aside from Solo, aside from Roman Reigns. And Jacob Fatu could go face as a result of this. Just saying. There's a lot of things that can happen right now. I think Jacob Fatu could be incorporated into the storyline along with the bloodline. Because if you want Jacob and Solo in this, I'm all into it. I'm all in for that. And I think that would be a great move. That they're just involved as henchmen that are being hired mercenaries on behalf of the final boss. Meanwhile, Cena's the golden ticket to get the title off of Cody and control the company. And they can also make a storyline where Cena is not retiring. Oh, I'm not leaving yet. I'm not done yet. They could also change it. But yet the retirement will still happen. But maybe that's what's going to happen too. There's a lot of things that can be done. You could have a thing where, listen, Cena might go away and stop wrestling at the end of the year. That doesn't mean he doesn't have to be on television all the time, but he could also, they could do something where he finishes with the title, retires the title, okay? He will vacate it and his retirement, and he will give it to the next person that will be ordained or crowned champion. Unrightfully, but they'll do that. They can do that too, because the final boss has to say. So, James, I don't think it's something like that. And look, even with the bloodline, I mean, you had to go and do things to really stretch this out into 4 years. But there were a lot of things they did to really just keep stretching that out. Like, there was a lot of story among a lot of players to play off of to get to this point. Right now, we're in a limited amount of people. And also, we're not going to have Rock and Cena all the time right now to do this. But this is okay. This can help to replace what the bloodline was in terms of a storyline that we really cared about. That main event angle with real storyline ability. Because there's a story being told here. A real story. You can tell this is not the run-of-the-mill NXT stars rambling around, War Raiders versus New Day versus whatever, versus, Grayson Waller, and then there's the Ludwig Kaiser, Penta stuff, whatever. Like all this little underling mid-card stuff. The main event angle, this is key. And this is the draw that will get everything else that's going on. But I'm telling you, you want to have that house show look continue? Rock and Cena don't have to be on every show. But during WrestleMania, absolutely. And then you make something happen where you got to add somebody else into the mix that is full-timer. One full-timer at least should be in this mix. The other thing, too, is that if something happens to the corporation and down the line into creating a storyline to continue moving forward, what if Triple H becomes an on-air character and then is battling with Final Boss? Not in storyline, not in wrestling, but like airs two factions. And we do a version of Billionaires Club versus New Blood. We go back to that. I mean, it was a story in WCW 99 that had a great start, a great promise, but it was executed horribly. And it was never going to last. But it was the Bischoff-Russo deal. You could try to make that story right. We don't need to do an invasion angle, but like, if we go back to where Triple H resurrects the Authority and Seth Rollins comes back to be part of that. Like, there's a couple of things you could do. And I think that's what part of it needs to be here. Like, that's what I feel like right now with the final boss. They're heels now. And Cena needs to have somebody, or needs to have something where he is acting like a heel. So I want it where you have henchmen around. So, like, again, you have, for Rollins, what was it? I forget who it was that he had that was working with him, but he had two underlings with him to do the dirty work and protect Seth Rollins, protect the asset, the authority of Seth Rollins, the architect, all of that. But we're in the same place here. And as for Cody, I don't know. Because Cody continues to get beaten down, continues to get pummeled by everybody, whether it's the bloodline or whether it's John Cena right now. It's like all he's doing right now, he's on the ground and he's pummeled every week, it feels like. So where's Cody coming back to get his? I don't know yet, but now we're in an unpredictable storyline. And that's a good thing for WrestleMania. We can get to that point. We can have that match. That's going to be something good. Now, the other thing they did that happened on Monday Night Raw that could also be looked at is they decided to go ahead and change titles with the women's world title and Io Sky being Rhea Ripley. Who saw that coming? But they have a thing for Io Sky. She's good, but there's not much to her. But they decided to go this route. I'm like, all right, fine. They'll decide to go this route. That's fine with them. We already know we got 4 matches for sure coming into WrestleMania in Vegas. We know that Cody Rhodes, John Cena will be for the WWE title, World Heavyweight title with Gunther and Jey Uso, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair for the women's title, and then Io Sky, Bianca Belair now for the women's world title. So that's your setup for matches so far. That's not a bad start to things, and especially with Cody Rhodes and John Cena, that's a great move. Because now you really just built the Vegas show, and that was the extra spark it needed to get that stadium sold out. Because right now, if you didn't know, there's a lot going on with Vegas. It's just not been doing well. Like Super Bowl weekend was really suffering. They're struggling to get people to go to Vegas because everything just costs too much. But here we are, and they're going to go with this. And this is all fine. So, like, we're all set here. WrestleMania is starting to shape itself out. We just need to get at least another 6-7 matches, I think. And remember, with WrestleMania, I mean, I know it looks like Triple H probably won't even book the card that really deep. So I could see 7 matches per night on both nights. So 14 matches total. We need 10 more, something like that. And what will they decide to go and put together to build up towards it? We'll find out. But let's get into what the heel turn really meant to people, what they really thought about it. Let's get into just what some commentary was out there. So the perfect arc they're saying is Sean Van Horn. And the one thing was always talked about is that John Cena always wanted to go and turn heel once again. And that there was new gear that was made for a John Cena heel turn that never happened. That was the time I thought that we could actually do it. But the Make-A-Wish work, his merchandise sales were always the reasons why they said, well, we're not going to do that. Under Vince, they would not. And Cena would acknowledge this in interviews, and that John Cena's character was a virtuous character, but also a flawed one because of it. Now, in terms of the potential they say for an evil or heel John Cena, Sean Van Horn says that for 2 decades, John Cena has been held back, living in Groundhog Day, doing the repeat the same gimmick until this time was done. So he says, look for John Cena to do the best character work of his entire career over the next few months. Hulk Hogan had a perfect heel turn, but do you remember how his career ended? You won't forget John Cena's goodbye. It's going to be ruthless aggression. All right. The thing is, there's a lot of things that can be done here. Again, John Cena could break Ric Flair's record for the most world title reigns of, in multiple companies. Let's just put it like that. For 17-time world champion. Which, if they decide to go and do that after WrestleMania and John Cena becomes champion, and then who's going to go and knock the guy off the post? Yeah, that'd be pretty good. And that would be a good storyline to go and go along with throughout the year. And also, this is where John Cena then gets to go and take on all these opponents that he wanted to get. In my personal opinion, I think we go with John Cena winning the title at WrestleMania and the corporation controls for the next year. And then somewhere around Survivor Series or wherever you want, John Cena will drop that belt. But he will go after all different comers. And then basically you just make John Cena just go after all these different opponents he wants to go and have. They'll all have a chance at the title and they will lose to him. Or whatever they want to do. I would like to go and see that. That sounds good. The Guinness Book of World Records acknowledges the heel turn with an unlikely record, they say. That he had the longest WWE face run before turning heel. And also held the previous Guinness World Record for most wishes granted through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And some people have made comments about breaking down what the heel turn was and what happened. One clue that people were saying as well, that people never realized that he was going to go and turn heel, is that there was a post-show press conference in July 2024 when he announced his retirement tour, when he said he was no longer interested in a heel turn. But then he was on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, and they detailed a previously planned heel turn meant to happen back in 2012. Cena explained that he was set to turn his heel around his once-in-a-lifetime match against The Rock, and he was ready to go and ready to think about what to do with the story. New entry stream, new gear, boxing-like robes, singlets, and they plan on leaning to the exact opposite of everything he was, and he would give up a lot to his never give up motto that adorns his merchandise. But they talked about, as we said, Make-A-Wish, the merch, the babyface run couldn't be done. But there were missed clues, they say in the story. This is from Wrestling Inc. That Cena already had some heelish attributes before hitting a low blow to Rhodes, and that there were heelish attributes he discussed on Insight when he spoke about the heel turn that never was. He said he'd been appearing on fewer shows. Easy to miss that it had been 2012 since we're used to seeing him being a part-timer at best. But it would have been a red flag than his much hyped retirement tour. Cena didn't say a word of the Elimination Chamber post-show instead of just grabbing the microphone and dropping it before storming off. And in that interview, he also said if he had turned heel back in 2012, he wouldn't work as hard. He would be untrustworthy and unreliable, and going back to everything he stood for. Now, at the end of the Elimination Chamber match against CM Punk, who was the last person with him in the ring, Cena put CM Punk in one of the most brutal STF submission holds ever witnessed after an already eliminated Seth Rollins hit Punk with a stomp on the outside. And Cena's total lack of hesitation and taking advantage of Punk should have tipped off fans who were shocked to the core moments later. Yeah, because Cena was already acting heel at that moment. Like, he wasn't acting like he was going to go and take advantage unfairly on Punk after getting stomped. So he went with it. The stomp happened. Seth Rollins did it to CM Punk, and CM Punk tapped out. And that's it. Or, knocked out. And Cena wins. So you already know Seth Rollins, CM Punk. That's another match that's already going to get set up. And for some people to go ahead and say, hey, man, why didn't we do this sooner? Like, there were some reactions I was just like, man, who's saying that? There was somebody, who was it I was reading from that I saw among the comments I bookmarked? Oh, let me go back into this again. So one person thought, all right, when they go into this, there was something about when we get the scene, the heel turn. I'm sorry, we're going back to Seth Rollins, CM Punk. That's right. So let me get back into my comments, because I replied back to somebody here about this, and a comment came out. I don't see how they don't do Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestleMania after this, after the big pull apart they had on Raw. And then I wrote back and says, this match would have happened last year if CM Punk had not gotten hurt at last year's Royal Rumble match. The angle was already getting set up from his return at Survivor Series 2023, but he didn't do it. So this is to make good. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, from the onset of Survivor Series. Remember, at Survivor Series, the post-show scruffle was CM Punk starting to go and start talking trash to CM Punk in the first place, Seth Rollins. It already had started. That was already obvious to make point. So they went along with it. I was like, here we go. And That match is going to be obvious. So great. Now let's go into what some people have been saying about all this tonight, because there's been a lot that's said and some pretty good commentary out there about that. So one bookmark I wanted to get was MJF, of all people, commenting on what he saw of the John Cena heel turn. I thought what MJF was very well said. And there was a lot that he actually got out of that interview where he actually mentioned that he was claiming that he's making $15 million a year, or $15 million after his contract's done. So let's get into what MJF said to Jimmy Trina at Sports Illustrated about the John Cena heel turn.
I can't have the top guy from AEW on, not ask him. So I just give me your whole take on the John Cena.
I get really annoyed when people in either company pretend that they don't. Let me put it this way.
Yep.
Yes, I was watching it. I was watching it live. It was an awesome moment, and everybody should think it was an awesome moment, because it was point blank, end of discussion. If you are in the world of professional wrestling, if you are a top guy and you don't watch as much or consume as much professional wrestling as you possibly can you call yourself a student of the game? Can you say you're giving your best foot forward? Can you claim to be one of the best in the sport? In my opinion, no, you absolutely cannot. So if you were to ask a WWE star, have you been watching AEW? And they say no, one of two things is happening. One, they're lying through their fucking teeth, or two, they don't care enough about this industry to study what's going on in it. But yeah.
There we go. MJF is absolutely right. And he was right about the fact it was an awesome moment. I don't think anybody can really criticize that much what that moment was like on Saturday. There's no doubt about it. And it's one of those things that honestly just turned myself around a little bit better, to be much more receptive, because I'll tell you, there were a lot of things to be critical about with the company, in my opinion. And of course, the juvenile, delusional fandom will feel different about this, but I don't. I'm enjoying this immensely. That storyline is at least just like the Bloodline before. The mid-card stuff can always just grind my gears, but that's fine. This right here helps to make things much more palatable. That's okay. And of course, some of the WrestleMania storylines are getting better. Like, yeah, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, that's a match I'm invested in. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, yeah, I'm invested in that too. Those are good, solid matches, no doubt about it. Sami Zayn now out indefinitely, I'm fine with that. And we'll find out what they do next. Like, there's other matches we can also have. Like, Rhea Ripley's going to have some match with somebody. We'll figure that out. Like, there's a few more things that are going to happen. I don't know what that's going to be, but that's okay. And we know that I don't know if Naomi and Jade Cargill is going to be a WrestleMania match. I don't know if we're going to get to that point. I can see it on television, and I don't know if we're going to see those two go after each other, and that's going to be something. Whereas, even for Naomi, it's kind of just odd on how they're going to use her now that she's split away from Bianca Belair once again. I don't know. Few more people commenting on this. Hulk Hogan. And look, for whatever you want to go and say about him and his commentary, like, everybody's all upset. Oh, look what, they booed him out of the arena at the Netflix debut, right? And the racist crap, whatever, okay. But there's something important going to be said about that Hulk Hogan and the comparisons with him and WCW's 1996 Bash at the Beach. So Justin Barrasso of Undisputed spoke with Hulk Hogan about Cena Breaking Bad and teaming with The Rock, and he praised the current angle. He says, quote, "It's one of the best heel turns I've seen in a long, long time. All the major players were involved. I can't say enough about The Rock, too. He was incredible. They did it right. I'll tell you that. Yes, it was perfectly executed. Minus Travis Scott. The whole angle, right then and there, was well executed. We saw what was going on, but again, there were some just nice nuances that went to it. Again, the throat slit, Cena's look, his stern look on his face that we never see before, as he's hugging Cody Rhodes, and done. And it looked good. And I would have wanted the crowd to be much more booing it and just give it the real response it's supposed to get. Don't go ahead and start popping like marks. Cena's supposed to be booed right here. Both of them are supposed to be booed. Give it to them. Big time. Because even when I played back the Bash at the Beach moment of the NWO, yeah, the crowd kind of popped like marks, but you know what? They started turning booing all over the place when Hogan started his promo and all the trash being thrown in the ring. Just saying that. Hogan thinks that the heel run will make an epic WrestleMania season. Quote, he says it's going to work as long as John wants to stay plugged in. I don't know the schedule or how many days will work, but he definitely has everyone's attention. Plus, The Rock is involved too. This could heat up more than anyone is expecting. It can be so hot that it's crazy, which will lead to a WrestleMania match you'll never forget. Yeah. And then he says to keep it hot, Hogan wants Cena to do something Rock isn't. Sell his turn outside of the company. He says, well, we can definitely see Cena now, can't we? We know who he is now. He's not signing autographs or doing what he's been doing. That's bigger than a wrestling angle. Yes, probably not wrong there. I actually like all that, what he's making the point of. It's good. And I really don't mind that we get this point here that Hogan is giving the credence to this heel turn as it should be. And I think any old school wrestling fan can appreciate this angle here. This was the talk of the town all throughout the wrestling community. Booker T focused on this on his Hall of Fame podcast, and he was gushing over the angle. So when he was asked about it, he says, quote, I love it, man. It's just what wrestling is. When you think you figured it out, they throw you another curveball like this one right here. Everyone thought John Cena is going to come back and win the title. That's what everybody was thinking about. John Cena is going to win the chamber and, go on and break the record. I still think that's a story. Not John Cena turning heel to actually get that, but nah, man. I love what wrestling is, man. When you think you've got it all figured out, they throw you a curveball. I gotta say, Paul Heyman must be involved in this somewhere. I don't know who did the storyline or took this here, or if it's Rock with Brian Gewirtz. It works. It completely works. Now, next, when we look at Jim Ross making comments about this. His Grilling JR podcast, he makes the point of that, yeah, it's nice. I saw the same thing. It's nice. I feel bad because it takes away from Michael Cole, and that's not the objective, but everybody's got their taste. My delivery, my presentation of moments like that are different. I don't think you can replicate them. That's just me. And that while the fans connect with his brand of announcing so strongly, but it feels bad that it takes away from Cole's work. And he says at the angle, I liked the hell out of it. I thought it was timely. I thought it made sense. I thought it added to the show. It was a jaw dropper to say the least. So I had no issues with it at all. I thought it was fabulous. Yeah. No one can feel that way. Like, no one can really feel like this was bad. And then also, quote, JR says, a lot of people wanted it to happen, but Vince was very, very reticent in pulling the string on that deal. One of the reasons is what you mentioned. Cena's merchandise numbers were astonishing. Yeah. In retrospect, I don't mind the change now. Now that it's happened, now that we're kind of into it, it's fine. I think it really did make a difference. Chris Rowling at Bleacher Report also makes comments on this, that the sheer presentation of Cena embracing Rhodes and watching The Rock for the command was award-worthy, with the subtle acting from both saying so much. And that fans had to know what that look from Cena meant, but still couldn't believe it. Correct. When he changed his look, that was big. It was a major change. Now, he tries to say that there were subtle nods of the heel turn coming over the last few weeks. Cena submitting himself to the chamber while everyone else had to earn it. And the match itself, he was more than happy to capitalize on Rollins stomping CM Punk's head into a metal grate to steal the win and punch his ticket to Mania. And Cena was more than happy to take the assist. Cena was crystal clear of his near miss at the Royal Rumble. He will do what is best for business. And that more than anything else, he's finally giving fans that heel turn that he's been freed of the burden of being the company face for children and a merchandise mover. Yeah, it's fine. Now I feel better about it. It's just at the moment, instant reaction, I was hesitant about that. I didn't know if I feel good about that at all, but they decided to go that route anyway. That's fine. Can't complain about that too much. So we'll leave that there. There's more to be said about what this all means and the evolution of the storyline and what they're going to be doing with it. I'm looking forward to all of it. But right now, I mean, when we get the next chance to see Cena and The Rock together, we got to see them on television at some point. That hadn't happened yet, but we'll get to that at some point. There's a lot of things that can be happening around this. A lot of matches that have to get built for WrestleMania, so we got things to watch. Right now, the television product is going to give us some newsworthy stuff, so it's worth watching. I don't know where SmackDown's going to go ahead and try to fill up that 3 hours, but we'll figure it out anyway. So this weekend is AEW Revolution. Let's go into the matches they got. And they've been building a lot of this right now for a while. Jon Moxley and Cope for the world title. So there's a lot of pieces here. I mean, it's finally to see where the Jon Moxley storyline is, and him being world champion here with the Death Riders, a storyline that has just been an anchor. This is the main event storyline that has to end. I mean, Cope has to put an end to this right now. Let's just let him be world champion and be done. Because I am so tired of Death Riders. Death Riders it's a horrible idea. I wanted where Moxley lose control, like the nucleus of him holding that belt and holding it hostage. He loses it, and then Moxley loses his group because they all split up. It implodes. Like, I want an implosion of Death Riders. We don't need a combat club. We don't need any of that. Let's just break them up. Break it all up. Just be done with it. I'm so tired of it. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage. That's going to be good. And this whole setup's been pretty good with Will Ospreay dealing with the Don Callis family and a whole setup with that. Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita for the international title. Big match for that. MJF and Hangman Adam Page. That's for the international. To me, that's just a setup match that we finally get this start of a feud that should really go on for a while. See how they're going to deal with that. And then Okada and Brody King for the Continental title. So I'll put it like this. Cope will win the world title. I'll take Will Ospreay to beat Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. Kenny Omega, I think, will beat Takeshita for the international title. I'll take MJF over Hangman Adam Page because I think there'll be some back and forth in this feud. And I will take Okada to win over Brody King. Now, hopefully there's some more matches, but that's what they have so far set up. Crypto.com Arena, LA, big show. We'll look for that coming up this weekend. And I will be doing a post show for that. We'll again look forward to it. That sounds like fun. And that's the show for tonight. I already did a post show this week. If you want more comment on the Cena heel turn, I went extensively on that over on the post show. So look for that right now. kingofpodcasts.com. You can find all that there. And that's the show for tonight. We're going to leave it, close it up. Of course, now you can find me. Hey, social media. I got myself back onto Facebook. How about that? King of Podcasts on X, TikTok, Facebook. Oh, and LinkedIn too. Yeah, all those places. So enjoy me coming to this weekend for Revolution and come back for another Wrestling's Real podcast because wrestling needs us.